Kind of like, let's get to know you, bro. Where are you from? Kind of how you started, you know, all that stuff.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll give you like the long version and the short version. So basically, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Armenia and I moved to America at about 9 years old. And growing up at around like 19, all I knew is I wanted to be rich. Didn't know anything else about other than that. And after studying some videos on YouTube, I recognized that everyone that was rich is somehow, some way investing in real estate. They either made their money in real estate or they started a business and then somehow they got involved in real estate. So I was like, you know what? That's got to be my final destination. But my theory at the time was gonna go to college, get a degree, get a job, save money, start a business, and then from that business, I'll be able to invest in real estate. How little did I know back then? So thank God for the YouTube algorithm. It showed me the becoming a real estate agent was possible. For like $2,000, you could basically start a business. I could pay you over $100K like your first year. And I was like, look, because I didn't have any other money to start, like no seed capital for any other business. I had a credit card with a $4,000 limit. So I pulled the trigger and we had to wait 2 years to get my real estate license, which was in 2017. I started my first year, I only did like 5 sales. My first 4 years actually sucked. And I was just like, I made the biggest mistake ever, trying to figure everything out on my own instead of asking for help. So it was just like failure after failure after failure. I sold more houses every year, but you know, when you're selling 5, selling 6 the following year isn't really that much impressive, right?
Yeah.
Around the 5th year mark, I finally was able to crack 6 figures, and that's when my mind opened up. And I said, okay, let me look into this investing stuff, because the whole game plan was to make money as an agent and then invest it, like learn the industry, then invest it. Which I did. I was able to get 2 7 units right next to each other, thank God. And then my plan for 2023 was to be a big syndicator and basically raise a bunch of capital, buy a bunch of real estate. And I basically had to stop at my tracks, because what happened was the lending requirements for real estate completely shifted from the DSA ratios being 1.25, lenders now working off a pro forma, so all these value add deals no longer qualify for any loans. So I had to pivot. I decided I got a flip. It just blind luck. I got a flip from a mailer I'd sent a year prior, and I ended up buying it with a hard money loan. That's how I learned how hard money loans actually work. This is middle of 2023, and then I made 60K on that flip. Immediately I quit being a real estate agent. I was like, this is insane. I've been busting my ass for like, I would have to sell about $3 million worth of real estate, deal with at least 20 people just to make 60K, and that's hundreds of hours of work. So I fell in love with being an investor at that point. I went all in on flipping, and my goal last year was to do 10, and we did end up doing 10. Basically went from 2 flips to 10 flips in 1 year, because I'm raising capital, and then my cost for actually each flip was I was able to lower my costs, so I was able to do more flips. So now we're here. I still own the 2 apartment buildings. We were on track to do about 25 flips this year alone, and we're probably going to get back to buying units like without having to raise capital, using my own money, because now we're actually making a lot of active income. So that's the short version.
So Aaron, man, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do this year too, you know? Like me and Art, this is my business partner, Art, by the way, but
What's up, bro?
You know, we're trying to also buy this year too, and we're so close. So I want your opinion. Like, what do you think about rentals? I know you do a lot of fix and flips, but what do you think about rentals?
So, brother, something I learned last year is rentals it's no real way to build wealth. Like, people like to portray it as you should get rental properties. That's how you're going to build your wealth. That's how you maintain your wealth, right? I always say real estate is a great place, an amazing asset to park your money. But if you don't have money to park, there's no reason to buy a parking lot. If you don't have cars to park, don't buy a parking lot, right?
I hear you.
So I don't know where you are in your career. Like, I don't know if you guys are already making a lot of money, but first goal should be to build active income. Once you build active income, what you'll realize is you have to buy rentals. Otherwise, you're going to pay the government all that money back. Right?
Yeah.
And then if you keep doing that, let's say every year you're making $500,000, right? You're gonna have to spend $200,000 as down payments, or somehow you have to buy real estate, like rentals, right? And in about 5 years down the road, you're gonna realize you have more rental properties than you could possibly imagine. You bought them right. You're not highly leveraged. You're never gonna lose them. They're all cash flowing, and you're very, very happy. You never have to work again. I think that's the right way to do it. So I don't know where you're at with the process, though.
Aaron, like I'm at the point where I feel like I have enough to go in for my first flip, but I also feel like I want to buy and hold. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. That's why I wanted your opinion. But I mean, I don't know. Well, like, what kind of markets are you in? And for your first flip, how much was it? Break down the numbers real quick.
So I'm in the Chicago suburbs. We have a very unique market. So we have very expensive homes and we have very affordable homes. Like I could buy a house, fix it, and flip it in a really good area for $250,000, right? And I could also do the same thing. I could do a $1.5 million development and sell it like that, just because our market is so diverse, and we're very lucky for that. Now, my first flip, I'm going to tell you a story of how my first flip happened, because oftentimes I'll talk about the second flip, because the first one was a very unique situation, but the second one, that one that randomly showed up and I had to get a hard money loan, that was actually very unique. So I was going to wholesale that deal because I did not have any money left, because I put everything in these apartment buildings and I wasn't making that much as a realtor because I was really kind of phasing out of that. I really didn't have extra capital left over to buy something all cash, so I was going to wholesale it. And I was talking to my friend, he goes like, bro, why are you wholesaling? You could just do this yourself with a hard money loan. I said, yeah, last time I called the hard money lender, the fees were so expensive. Like, I was spending an extra 25 grand on just fees and carrying costs, and I didn't like that. But I said, okay, let me give him a call. So I call the hard money lender, and I find out that if you just do 3 exits, right? Yeah. Hard money lenders will give you money, 90% leverage on the purchase, so you could only have to put 10% down, and they'll fund 100% of the rehab on a draw system, right? So all you really need to do is, if you're buying a $200,000 asset, you just got to have the down payment of 10%, closing costs of probably $10K, and then the carrying cost of maybe another like $3,000 to $5,000, depending on the price point that you're in, right? At $200K, you're probably gonna need another $5K. So all in all, to do that deal, you need $35,000. That deal made $60K. Like, I was fortunate where I had the $35,000, but if I didn't, I would literally just go to somebody, be like, hey bro, you have $30,000. I have this asset right here. That's a $60,000 profit margin. I'll give you half of it. It would be insane if I did that, but I could. And if that's what I had to do my first deal, I would. Now, I started as a real estate agent, so I made my first $100,000 as a realtor, and then and I was actually making good money as a realtor. I was averaging 150, 200K net income every single year, and that's how I was able to get into. That's how I was able to qualify for these buildings and do my first flip. And then I quit being an agent to go all in on flipping.
If you guys have any questions, drop it below. As you know, we go over some other stuff too. I mean, we'll drag you guys up. You guys are more than welcome to ask him a question about a fix and flip or a property you might want him to look at. I know does anybody have any questions? Also, have you ever like thought about doing creative finance on your houses, buying it, or nah?
I've thought about it. If it's an option, I'll always explore it. But the reality of creative finance, it's impossible to build a business like that, right? You have to be so lucky to find a seller that both wants to sell, doesn't need the money, has the right amount of equity, or owns it absolutely outright cash to do the seller financing, or has the right amount of debt for stuff too, right? So here's the thing: a lot of people like to go to creative finance because they think they need money to invest in real estate, and then and most people pitch in like creative finance as the way where you don't need money. The reality is money's all over the place, bro. I can literally look outside and see money everywhere. What's not is if someone that's an operator, someone that knows how to find a great real estate opportunity, knows exactly what you need to do to increase the value and then exit, right? So if you are that person, if you educate yourself, you become knowledgeable, you realize, I don't even want to waste my fucking time with searching for creative finance deals, right? Because I could buy every deal cold hard cash with other people's money, of course, fix it, flip it, and make my money in short term. I have to convince a seller to sign all these documents and then hold the note, da-da-da-da-da. Now, of course, if we have to do that, we will do that, but that's not my priority, right? And I shouldn't be anyone's priority, to be honest with you, because you could go out there right now, find any flip at any price point, and if it actually makes money and it makes sense, and you know how to explain it to people, you will get the money like that.
True. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people kind of like dabbling into wholesaling with creative finance and all that stuff, so I just wanted your thoughts on it because I see a lot of wholesalers doing that.
All right, so at what amount of money should you be able to start investing in cash for rental property?
I think until you're making about $200 to $250 a year, bro, you wouldn't even bother with it. Because at that point, you won't even be paying too much taxes. You should be putting every dollar back into scaling your business, and you can make $200,000 with flipping like literally your first year, and it's really not that difficult. If not your first, for sure you can make it in your second. And then you'll realize all you gotta do is just take 1 out of every 4 flips as a rental, and you'll never pay tax again.
All right, so for like if using a loan, what loans do you believe are the best
for flipping, brother?
Yeah, flipping and rentals.
Okay, so for flipping, the absolute best is if you could get private investors, right? So like if I'm buying something for $200,000, I want to go to Joe and Benny and be like, yo, you can give me 100, you give me 100, boom, and I can structure that any way I want, right? So that's the promised land if you can get there. The next best one is going to be a hard money lender. So it's going to be a fix and flip loan. It's a 12-month bridge loan where it's interest only, and they're going to fund 100% of your rehab, and they're going to ask you to put anywhere from 10 to 25% down depending on your track record.
Can other people kind of wholesale you deals? You buy off of wholesalers as well?
I would love to buy off of wholessalers. Yes.
Where can like maybe my people like find you? You know, like where?
So Instagram is probably the best place if you, because my email I almost never check. I mean, like it's always so much spam going on. So ARMG Realty is my Instagram. Just DM me, say I'm a wholesaler. I got an XYZ deal. Send me the address. I'll tell you what I could pay for it, and then we'll move from there.
At what point in life do you think we should stop wholesaling and just jump into the game?
That's a great question.
That's a great question, bro. I mean, as soon as you possibly can, because you gotta understand, as a wholesaler, you're agreeing to take less money today over 3 times more money tomorrow, right? So once you get to the point where because the reality is sometimes you just need that money today more than the money tomorrow, right? So once you get to a stable place where you're like, okay, I don't really need this 10 grand today. I'd rather wait 3 to 4 months and I make 40,000. When you get to that point, every single deal should be a flip for you.
All right, so let's see. Is it better to wholesale than to try to get a loan to start? Like, I guess he's saying, like, is it better to start wholesaling to get your first fix and flip in 2025? And would you consider people buying in 2025?
Yeah, you should always buy. It's always a great time to buy a good deal, right? Okay. As long as you know how to identify that it's a good deal. A lot of people are buying shitty deals. 90% of wholesalers send me shitty deals I wouldn't even make 15K on, to be fully transparent, right? So there was the second part to your question. What was it say? Whether they should wholesale
or whether they should take out wholesale first to get your first investment property.
So that's really going to depend on the person. It really depends on where you are financially. Like if you got $50,000 somewhere, there's really no reason for you to be wholesaling, right? Sure. Because here's the reality. You could make the same money with like 3 to 4 flips that you could make with 10 wholesale deals. And the hardest thing in real estate and the most expensive thing in real estate is actually finding the deal. Because as a wholesaler, you don't have to, buy the play. You just get money right away. But you need to spend a lot of money on marketing. Like I'm spending 3 to 5 grand a month just on mailers and cold callers and pulling lists and shit like that, just so I can get these off-market deals, right? Okay. So it's very difficult. So you as a wholesaler just did the hardest part. You found a great deal. Yeah. Now you're just up and just give it away to someone like me. And also thank God for doing that. But the reality is if you just learn how to raise money, actually, when wholesalers say like, oh, I don't have the money to do that, I'm like, neither do I. I sold 3 houses and I have barely any money in them, You just gotta learn how to actually find a great deal and then go to an investor and pitch it to them the proper way. But in the beginning, if you have absolutely no money, it is very difficult to do business with someone who's completely broke. So if you have to wholesale in the beginning, let's say you rack up 45,000 from like 3 or 4 assignment fees, then look into doing your own flip. So you have a little bit of capital, a little bit of leverage. Does that make sense?
Yep. And then how much did you make off your first fix and flip?
The first one's net profit was 39K. And I had to split that 50-50, so I walked away with like 19 and some change.
Got you.
My second one made 60,000. That was all mine. And then after that, everything else I raised capital for, and I made 120, 55, and then most recently, all my deals have been around like that 45 to 45K profit margin.
How do you determine whether if it's a good deal for you to make 15, 20? He said. 15 out of 20.
Great question. So you got to work backwards from the ARV, right? Once you determine what the after repair value is, you can then determine what you're going to be left with after you sell it. So this is a basic math, right? Let's say a property is worth 300K, fully remodeled, right? You take whatever you're going to pay in commission out of that. So I pay 3.5%, because I charge myself 1%. I pay buyer's agent 2.5%, right? You got to take out whatever you pay broker commission. Then just take out a blanket 10K for closing costs, because shit always comes up. And whatever you're left with, that's the amount of money you got to play with. And I always take my profit first. So let's say I want a 45K profit, right? I don't even know what the arithmetic would be on that, so I apologize. I'm just gonna wing it with the number. So let's say after closing costs of selling it, I'm left with like 270. Then I want a 45K profit. So that means I gotta be all in on this deal in 225. So then I say, okay, it's a $30,000 rehab. That means I gotta cover about 10K in closing costs and carrying costs, right? So let's say I gotta be at 185. That's the most I could pay for me to make 45K with this deal. So then I'll offer the seller 170 and see what I could go for.
We also have another question. Buy land and then also build on top.
That is my goal this year. So my goal right now is to do one new development, see if I like it, see if it makes any money, see where where I could make the process better.
Right.
And then if I like it, I'll probably go into new builds and forget about the flipping, because ultimately development is where the billions are made, right?
True.
Flipping is not a business. It is a quick way to make a few $100,000, and then you need to segue into bigger investment vehicles such as commercial real estate or new development. I don't buy new builds. Everything I buy has to be value add.
So are you buying like land this year, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of...
I'm hunting, so bring me some.
Yeah, we have a lot of land everywhere, pretty much. What are your main markets overall, like every single state?
Only in Chicago. I stay in my lane. I stay in the Chicago suburbs because that's where I know, that's where my connections are, and that's where I could go. I could be gone for 5 days as I am now, and my business will continue to prosper because I got the right team in place. So I could go to an investor and get 150 from him. The bank will give me everything I need to finance that, to build that house, and all I gotta do is have an extra 50K laying around for the carrying costs, because for a year I need to pay the payments on that loan, and boom, that's it. Simple as that. I build a house. Let's say he makes a $200,000 profit, because I wouldn't build unless I can make that. I can give the investor literally 50K. He's happy. It's a 33% return on his money to do absolutely nothing.
We would love to wholesale you some deals this year, honestly. And
bring it on, brother. Bring it on.
We got a whole bunch in here. On a personal level, how do you keep your mental state balanced? That's a key one right there. How do you just keep it
That's a good one. Well, first, I built a business that I actually enjoy and the way I wanted to build it, right?
Yeah.
And I have there's a lot of flippers that want to rip their hair out and they're stressed out, they hate the business, this, that, and the other. I don't got none of those problems. I'm barely working because I spread the love, right? So I can easily, let's say if a flip makes 45,000, right? What I actually take from that is about 25K. That makes sure that everybody around me eats. Now, that same deal that made 45, because it could have made 55, but I decided to pay out my contractors the right amount of money, so I don't have to deal with the headache, right?
Right.
So that would give me a lot of mental peace. And then having a full pipeline, man. Nothing stresses me out than not knowing I got a check coming, right?
Sure.
But right now, I know I got 5 flips in the pipeline. I'll make $200,000 by probably end of March, beginning of April. I can't be upset if that's where I'm headed for, right? So that helps a lot. And then honestly, sometimes you just gotta work through it.
Yeah.
There's good days, there's bad days, All
right, so here's another one. What type of properties do you look for, and the most you're willing to pay for a property?
I don't care about the price as much as I care about the ratios, right? Okay. So I'm looking for a 20% return on my investment, right? If I buy the property all cash, if I can make 20% on my total investment, I'll do the deal, or around 20%. Like if it's in a great location, I'll settle for 16. But if you send me something in the absolute shittiest place on earth, then I'm gonna need 25%. Or if it needs like a boatload of work and it's gonna be a lot more headache, I'm getting a little bit higher than that. But a good benchmark is 20% ROI is what I need for my profit. And then what kind of flips I buy is mostly all cosmetic. So I could be in and out in like 4 to 6 weeks. That's why I actually have a lot of peace of mind, because I'm not buying anything that requires a whole fucking new build, additions, new roof, foundation, plumbing. I avoid all of those. So cosmetic stuff, we're doing kitchens, baths, floors, paint, trim, and then light plumbing and electrical. So that's basically all I do.
All right,
C plus and B plus areas.
C plus and B plus. Okay. Supposedly Chicago's not allowed to wholesale. So how does the rules kind of work in Chicago as far as wholesalers?
So you just have to do a double closing.
A double close? Okay.
Yeah, that's the only other way. Or you need to have a real estate license. Okay. But double closing is a lot easier, because as a wholesaler, it's like you can get a real estate license. You are not you have to make sure you're not representing the seller. Right. So it gets a little dicey. Yeah. All right. Also, double closing is actually preferred, so that way the end investor doesn't know what your spread is. Because if your spread's 10K, we're never gonna give a fuck. But if you're making 50,000 on a spread, 90% of investors are gonna be like, "Fuck you," and then I gotta be happy.
All right, cool. Awesome. I think that's it. So, Aram, I appreciate you, man. We'll talk later. I'll have a whole bunch of wholesale deals for you. Right when I get off here too. Send you what you got now that I know your criteria. All right. So yeah, we appreciate you.
You guys, pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Peace.
Walk away.